Okay, so this is what the general lay of the land looks like. It's very consistently the same. It's got a bit of mixture, sort of gravel on top, bit of ironstone, a little bit of quartz, what they like to call salt and pepper, a bit of black, a bit of white. Yeah, I found a few bits of gold, very scattered, but probably found about 7 or 8 bits across that area. And then quite a spell of, like, been going for about an hour or two with nothing, but then I've got a signal here, so hopefully it's a little bit of gold. Let's hope it's not another hot rock. Okay, it's in there somewhere. I'm in an area about 350 kilometres northeast of Kalgoorlie, and I've driven across from Hervey Bay in Queensland, so it's taken me about 6 days to get here. You can see it there, little piece of gold, and it's pretty small. It's astounding that it gave such a good signal, such a tiny piece. He won't weigh much, that little guy. Boy, they pick it up well though, incredible. That's the little piece I found a bit earlier this morning, which was about 3 times the size of the one I just got now, that one there. So anyway, that's pretty good for a couple of hours. Let's see if I can find a bit more for the morning. There's a track coming right through here. I don't know where it goes, but anyway, I'm just running the detector along, and the next thing is a signal right there in the middle of the track, and I thought it was a piece of rubbish again, piece of metal or something. Turned out to be a little piece of gold, and that's it right there. So that one came out of just here, and just over here I've got another signal. You would assume it would also be a piece of gold, and right next door to the other one. So there's those 2 little bits I just got out of that hole over there. Nicely flat, very shallow, and probably, like, if they're an inch down, probably been flattened by all the cars driving over the top of them. And that's the spot I got it from, just over there. Alright, carry on. It's always good to see some of the local wildlife, and this mob of goats was so relaxed and preoccupied that I was able to sneak up pretty close without spooking them. I need to get close because I haven't got a proper camera with me, so everything I'm filming is just on my old mobile phone. They seem to be in good condition with quite a variety of colours. There was about 20 all up, with a few young ones. The next morning I continued detecting around a spot with a lot of quartz scattered all over the surface. Alright, I've got another signal here, which is only literally 3 metres from the last one that I got last night, and the night which was there, that little patch over there. So, and then just over here I've got another signal, which I should be able to hear and through the headphones. So it's gone through that sort of little bit of a hard lay on top, so I'm assuming it should be gold, which will make, if it is gold, it'll be 3 pieces within sort of a 30 square metres, I suppose, which is great. Yep, there we go, another bit of gold piece there. Nice, real nice, 3 good sized chunks just in a small area. Can't complain about that. This wee fellow is a pebble mimic dragon. He relies on his camouflage to remain hidden from predators, and will usually stay completely motionless if seen, to blend in with the surrounding environment. It's an insectivore, although obviously these aren't on the menu, as it seems to be quite happy to just let them walk all over it, unless of course it's just not hungry at this stage. We got a signal here, which is a pretty good signal. Let's give her a dig, see what we can find. So there's quite a solid little piece. that's it there. You can see that. Nice little chunk. Now, the general consensus is that the value is about $50 a gram. There you go, about a grammer, I think. Nice little piece. Nice in the sun. That's what the area looks like. Very dry. So here's a little tally up. What I've got for the morning is that piece there. And yeah, so 4 bits for the morning, which is pretty good really. Oh, reasonable size. Is that there? No, not bad. That's a nice chunk, that first one there. There you go. That. Nice in the sun. This prickly little guy is a thorny devil, or a Moloch hiridus, and he's probably got the most obvious predator defence of any lizard. But if the spikes aren't deterrent enough, they can also puff themselves up to make them harder to swallow, just in case a hungry intruder did decide to take on the challenge. It's a good lizard to have around if you've got an ant infestation, as that's what they like to eat. In fact, sometimes up to 1,000 in a single meal. They can live up to 20 years and can change their colour to suit the environment. Another beautiful day on the gold fields. Just got down into the bit of gravel layer now. So it should be just in there somewhere. Oh, it's in this lot. Oh, there we go. Oh, oh. Oh, a nice little chunk of gold. That one. It's a bit bigger chunk than some of the others. A few more like that would be good morning. That'd have to surely be over a gram, that one. Nice, very nice. It's now been over 2 weeks since I've seen another person, so it's pretty remote out here. Just wilderness in every direction as far as the eye can see. Certainly not the sort of place you want to get lost or have an accident like a snake bite or something, especially when you're by yourself like me. You hear some pretty tragic stories of people being found dead from dehydration or not even being found at all. But aside from all that, you'd have to believe that somewhere out there's some serious gold. It's about 10:30 at night and the moon is so bright. I've been going for a bit of a stroll each night in the moonlight. It's quite pleasant too. It's cool and no flies, don't have to wear the hat. And I actually found a piece after about probably the first half hour. I found a little fella, and then I found another little fella. Anyway, then I come along, I get this faint signal here. So then I start digging. I thought, oh, it's probably just a piece of old tin or something. Start digging away, get down, a few inches. It's getting louder and louder. Then next thing I've got down to the bedrock, and it's hard and the signal's loud. Anyway, I spend the next hour with my little pick here, smashing through this layer of bedrock. Well, and it actually smashed through. I got through the layer of it. I don't know how thick the layer is. It must be at least 8 inches thick. It's just a nightmare to get through. But anyway, you break through it and then suddenly it gets to sort of sandy stuff. And by now the signal is so loud, I'm thinking, is there something else down there? What the heck is it? Next thing, if I run the detector over, the noise is out. I run it over the pile here, and this is what came out of it. The size of that chunk. I thought the other 2 little bits were good. This thing here needs a clean up of it. It's still covered in dust and dirt. But that's a solid gold chunk. It's got a lot of weight to it. We'll have a good look at it in the morning, but by crikey, got it in the moonlight, eh? I'll give it a bit of a spit. See the yellow showing up there now, but you see, look at that, eh? How fantastic is that? Just makes the other things look like dwarfs. Of course, night time is when all the little creepies become active, and luckily I looked down just in time before this guy was about to go up my trousers. At around 20 centimetres long and with about 40 legs, it could have been a very unpleasant experience. Certainly not the sort of thing you want up your leg in the middle of the night. So here's a look in daylight at those pieces from last night. Now the funny thing is that on the way back to the vehicle, in the dark, I got another little signal. Dug that up and turned out to be another little piece. So that was nice. Now that is one seriously nice chunk of gold. Quite a bit of weight in that. It's a beauty. So not bad for a walk in the moonlight, I tell you that. Alright, very good. Now let's go and see if I can put some more into the tally. So you're hard pressed to know that this is even the track. It is, you can see my vehicle tracks just there where I backed up, but apart from that, you sort of start to wonder. No one's been here. Just smashed a little bit of that branch away because I'm going to end up getting pretty scratched here. But doesn't look good, does it? But funny thing is, suddenly we've got some old workings. So I might just pull up here and a little bit of a play around. Turn around maybe. Interesting. If we switch off and look out there. One you don't want to fall into. I don't know how deep it is. Throw a rock down. It's not terribly deep, that one, but you wouldn't be able to get out of it, put it that way. Not too close to that. But there's a bit of other stuff going on around here. About 100 years ago. I'll have a play around, see if I can find anything. Funny thing just happened. I haven't had any gold for the last day and a half, nothing yesterday, nothing this morning, and in fact I've only had 2 signals I think in the last day and a half. One was a rusty nail and one was a piece of old metal. Anyway, I've just gone along through this bit of country that's really only got bits of quartz on the surface, not much else, and I stopped to adjust my RX gain on the detector as it was getting a bit noisy, the ground noise, and right where I was standing I adjusted the setting. Now I put the coil down, just waved it across, and next thing there's a signal right in front of me, and I looked down and I just kicked a couple of pieces of quartz off the surface, and there's the little piece of gold blazing nicely in the sun. That's where my finger is, just there. That's it there. There we go. Nicely polished from the rain and stuff. Oh, marvellous. Let's see if there's any more about sitting right in the sun like that. Sunbaker or stargazer as I like to call them. I'm just detecting a piece of ground here that's very mineralised, and it's extremely difficult because the detector is kind of just making a constant hum, and it's very hard to tune it out. It's about midday, and I think the sun heats up the ground so much it makes it even worse. Anyway, all the ironstone and hot rocks start to get warm and cause quite a riot on the detector. But found a little signal there, and it just scraped back the clay, and you can actually see the little piece there. It's only just below the surface. So I'll just tip those out with it and see. They're all very similar in size, which isn't very big. There you go. Show up pretty good against the red clay. Flies are extremely bad at the moment, so having to wear the head net all the time. But they're very persistent things, and occasionally the odd one sneaks under the stretchy stuff here. becomes quite a nuisance. So you have to squash them amongst the netting. Of all the different ant species I've encountered, and believe me there's plenty, these ones seem to be the most aggressive. I think they're a type of bull ant, and if any foreign object or creature comes within cooey, it's liable to get dragged down their hole as long as they can pull it. Although my key is a little bit too heavy, it's astonishing what they can carry for their size. You'd think with those wicked looking nippers they could give you a nasty bite, but it's actually the sting on the other end that's the most irritating. They've got quite a potent venom for an ant, and they can often sting multiple times. Look at that, they actually move it, look at that, 10-cent piece. Ants dragging it away. How is that? Look at that. It's ridiculous. Ants are meant to be little. Uh-oh. They're going for my legs. There doesn't seem to be any hot rocks quite in this area, so that's a good sign. Let's hope. Oh, it's gone very soft, this stuff. It's kind of just almost just a red dirt. Gravel all seems to be on top. Imagine it'll probably be out in this lot, whatever it is. Wow, it's kind of like just sand really down there. That's alright. I've got the external speaker on today, so should be able to hear it a bit better in the camera this time. Anyway. Yep, she's out. Nice signal. Chunk of gold. There you go. Nice little chunk. Yeah. Quite a solid little bit. So this morning I got 4 other little pieces. Those are them there. Piece. Too bad for a morning. Be happy with that. And with any luck there might be another 1 or 2 lingering around somewhere. Good stuff. Here we have a western shingleback, also referred to as a bobtail for obvious reasons. It's a subspecies of the blue-tongued skink, and the only one that can't shed its tail as a defence mechanism. However, its stumpy tail resembles its head, which may confuse predators. They can live up to 50 years and are omnivorous, so they'll eat anything from insects and carrion to fruit and vegetation. There's all this stuff here, like a reef kind of running through with it. It all sticks sort of straight up and down. So you just hope that if the gold was coming down with the other wash, whatever happened years ago, that a piece of gold got stuck in between those little crevices. And that's what it's doing here. Right. hard now, so it was a funny sort of signal. It was faint to start with, but yeah, I can hear it sort of better. It's sort of a weird signal. It's a bit sort of bo rather than a straight nice thing, but it's a little bit of gold hopefully stuck in the stuck amongst these crevices. That, pretty happy with that. It's a nice piece. Yeah, very nice. Get a close up of that anyway, but very nice. I'll give you a look at what that makes me a bit more cheerful. I'll do a bit of a spend a couple of hours going over the slope and see what happens. This is what I've got for the last few days. There's one piece there that's sort of, oh, they got little prickles, those things, eh? Little cactus. One bit there, sort of a flattish piece, quite size, good size sort of, but very flat. Only 4 little pieces there. This one, that's a better chunk. It's got a bit of weight to it. So anyway, that's the last few days there. Right, let's hope there's a bit more of that on the slope. This little fellow is not much longer than my finger, but by crikey he can move fast when he runs. Only about 10 minutes ago I got a little piece of gold, only like 15 metres away over there, and then only about 2 metres from that I got another little piece. So I've been circling around, and then now I've got another signal here, and it's a little bit below the surface, so it's a good sign. It seems to be amongst the roots, and we've got a bit of gravel there, so she's looking good. Nice gravel. No doubt it'll be out of the hole now. Imagine. Yep, sure enough. Stuff now. There's an enormous amount of quartz scattered everywhere around here. But unfortunately, quartz by itself doesn't necessarily mean there'll be gold, but hopefully it does in this case. Here somewhere. So that's what I like, eh? 3 pieces within a small circle. Just hope there'll be a few more. Yeah. That's it there. To it. Just show you what I got so far this morning. And so, actually that little bit there, that biggest piece, that's what I got last night before dark. These bits here, what I got this morning, that's the 3rd bit. So pretty happy with that really. It's the biggest piece this morning anyway. Good. Let's keep that up. Quite a nice signal down here. Already down about that far. Gold. See that there? This big boy is a monitor lizard, or locally known as a bungara. They can grow up to a length of around 5 or 6 feet, and apparently seem to be immune from snake venom, as they'll consume among other creatures even the most deadly of snakes, like the inland taipan, which is often considered the most venomous snake in the world. They reckon it's not a good idea to stand in the way of a departing bungara, as they might run straight up you while mistaking you for a tree. Whew, that gave me a fright. Whew. Beautiful lizard, magnificent thing. Oh, they're wonderful creatures. So that's what the country looks like. And this is all this digging here is all from that lizard. And that is the hole that he ran down into. And I was standing about 2 feet on that side of the hole. So yeah, wow. There's quite a lot of old diggings in this area. They're mostly back up the slope up there. And unfortunately the old timers left all their rusty cans and wire and bits of metal lying all over the place. And over the years, of course, they've all rusted down and broken up, and now whenever it rains heavily, all these little bits of metal get washed all over the place. So 99% of the signals I've been getting around here is all just trash. So I've been trying to decipher the sound of the signal and try and work out what sounds like muck metal and what could be gold. And I've just basically been trying to listen for the deeper, sort of more faint signals, hoping that if it's deeper, then it's more likely to be gold. So I was saying to myself, there's probably no chance of any gold on the surface, so I'll only go for the faint signals. And just as I was thinking that, I get a signal straight in front of me, I look down, and right on the surface there's a little piece of gold. So it's just down here. That's it, just there. That little fellow there, it's probably a bit hard to see because the sun's quite low at the moment, but I'll just pick that out. There we go. There she is. Alright, well, that's good. I'll just show you what I got a bit earlier on. A couple of other bits, and one of them is quite a nice chunk. I'll just grab it out of my pocket. Alright, so that's the one I just got that was sitting in the sun. And these pieces here are what I got a little bit earlier. Just have them out here. They'll come out of the bag. What we got? Okay, so I got this fella here. A little chunk there. And then another little piece there. I'm going to stay there. And then this beauty here. That's a nice little chunk, that one. Bit of weight in that one. So not bad, pretty happy with that. Good day really. I've had a bit of a lean patch lately, went for about a week and a half without any gold at all. And then now, fortunately, just in this vicinity around here, I've got a few pieces. So I'm pretty confident that this one will be gold as well. It's quite a good signal. Doesn't sound like it's that deep. The others were quite shallow as well. Certainly getting a bit hot now. Apparently it was about 37 degrees yesterday. It'll probably be similar today. She's out. It's in here somewhere. Hey. In here apparently. This is making a nice signal. Let's see what we can see. If we can see it just. Wow, look at that, look at that. Wow. That there. It's like a nice piece. Wow, it's a beauty, look at that. Boomerang shaped. Very nice. I'll grab those other bits out that I got a little earlier. Show you the whole lot. Wow, yeah, happy with that. Look at that. Oops. Chuck that in my other hand. So those are the other bits I got. 5 pieces there. So I got a bit earlier. And then that piece there. Wow. Great. That's fantastic. Wow, it certainly cleans up the dry spell I've been having. Excellent. Alrighty. Well, the sun's just set. It's another lovely evening, although it's very windy. I'm just making my way through the scrub here on my way back to the vehicle. And I spotted something white under the scrub there. And it's a giant egg. So it's quite fascinating. It's obviously been abandoned. But we'll take a closer look at that. It's quite interesting. Vehicle's out that way somewhere, so I better get a move on before it gets too dark. And anyway, just over there, spotted under the little shrub there, there's a giant white egg. There it is in there. Now it's a whopper, alright, huge. Obviously an emu. It's been sitting there a while. It's quite grey underneath. Might have been there a year or two, who knows. It'd be pretty rotten inside. But it's fascinating because you would expect the fox or some creature to have got it while it was still fresh. But nothing. Beautiful egg. Quite solid too, I'd say. Certainly you can put a bit of pressure on it and it doesn't break. But that'd make some good batch of scrambled eggs, that would. Just the one egg by itself. Fascinating. Alright, I'll put it back into there. So the boomerang piece, although it's quite flat, still ended up being over 3 grams. So that's at least $150 right there. Here's a look at some of the other bits and pieces I've got just recently. There's more than 2 ounces on the scales just in that lot, which means it's worth around 3,000. Anything out here, the gold might have been deep, might have been, you know, digging shafts down a fair way, because so far it's just all dirt and topsoil, no sign of gravel near the surface. Probably end up too deep around here for metal detecting. Good snake country, I guess. This long tussock. Certainly interesting. It looks very much like I might be heading into a bit of a thunderstorm. this was a nice dry campsite in amongst those trees, and now it's just a lake. It's quite horrendous. Glad I didn't park under there. I can't even drive at the moment because it just makes an absolute mess of the tracks, and you probably get stuck anyway. And unfortunately it's going to take several days for this to dry out, so it's a real bummer. I've got a really nice signal just down here, and I've already gone down about probably 3 inches below the surface, so I'd be pretty confident that it's gold, and it's quite a loud signal. So what I'm actually going to do, because I'm not far from the vehicle, I'll go back and get my external microphone for the detector so that it sounds better in the camera as I'm digging it up. Okay, I'm just on the way back to the hole now. It's been a magnificent day for detecting today. It's nice and cool. Over the last week or so it's been sweltering hot, just ridiculous. And then there was some big thunderstorms, incredible lightning, and heavy rain and hail. But now there's been a southerly change, and last night it was actually quite cold. I'm surprised. I actually wore a jacket up until lunchtime today. It was that chilly. Wonderful. Anyway, I'm back at the hole now, so I'll give her a as you can see, she's a nice loud signal. Excellent. Alright, let's start digging. Alrighty. Yeah. So it's quite hard now. Nice solid gravel, so it's good. That's what we hope, is that it keeps just getting deeper and deeper and louder and louder. A very solid sounding signal, eh? Definitely getting a little bit exciting now. Out now. Come on. Forgive me for a second, I thought it was a piece of rubbish. Wow, that's a beauty. That is a beauty. Look at that. The size of that, rattling around. Magnificent thing. I'll just spit on it. It's a beauty. Feel the weight of it. God, it's nice, real nice. Wow. Alrighty. Let's go find some more. I got this nice chunk amongst some rocks, and it was only about 6 inches down. I've got a signal here which started out extremely weak, and I didn't even think it was I didn't think there was any hope of it being gold. I thought it was just a hot rock or something like that. But as I started digging, it's got gradually louder. So I'm getting pretty enthusiastic about it now. And considering that only about 6 or 7 meters away, just over there, I got a nice chunk of gold, which I'll show you later. So this is looking pretty promising. There's the hole. Got the detector just sitting over there. Now I've already dug it down about, it's probably like a large handspan deep. As you can see there from the pick. So that's the depth from the top. It's quite deep topsoil, all this red dirt, it's just topsoil really. And now I've just got down to the sort of top of the gravel layer, and the signal's quite loud, but what I'll do is I'll go back to the car and get the external microphone again so that it sounds a bit better for the camera. Alright, I'm back, but I've got to move because the sun's not far off setting. It's only got a little bit left on the horizon, so low light. But it's sort of hard to tell how deep it is in the thing, but if you look at the depth of the coil, you can sort of see there. But anyway. Sounds like it's pretty much in the centre of the hole, so oh, are you serious? I just spotted it, and it's one seriously nice chunk. That's it, alright. That is one serious chunk. Yeah, just so you can see what's happening there. Oh man, I can't believe that. Look at it. Magnificent thing. Wow. I'll give it a bit of spit so you can see the yellow nicely in the sun. Whoops. Forgot I had my head net on. See it there. Oh man, look at that. Look at that chunk. Wow. I can't believe that. That's my biggest piece by far. And it's such a solid looking thing too. It's not sort of flat or anything. It's a bit sort of pyramid shaped kind of it. Oh wow. Wow, that's got some weight in it. That is just magnificent. Boy, oh boy. Have to do a bit more scouting around here tomorrow. And this is the other piece I've got here in the plastic bag. Try and get out with one hand. Okay. There we go. So that first piece, I was wrapped with that. I mean, that's a seriously nice chunk on its own, right? But this thing, look at the size of that thing. It's a heavy chunk, man. It is just phenomenal. This morning I got a few more smaller pieces as well. So that's my best day by far. Oh yeah, and I'll be back in this area in the morning. Good stuff. At nearly 28 grams, this piece is worth at least 1,500 just as it is. So along with several other pieces, I ended up with well over an ounce from just the one spot. When I got back to town, I decided to melt down all my smaller stuff into a few larger chunks. Okay, I'm about to melt down 44.2 grams, and it'll be interesting to see if we end up with the same sort of loss as the last, which wasn't very much, between 1 and 2%, which is pretty good out of just rough gold. So there's my potato, which I'm using instead of a crucible. And now put the gold in. And now I'll put a teaspoon of borax, which I'm using instead of flux. And alright, I started out with 44.2 grams of small stuff, and that is the finished product of that lot. Just one nice solid chunk. Very pure looking, beautiful, shiny, magnificent. Alright, we'll see what we end up with. Okay, just over 43 grams. So I've only lost just over a gram, which I'm very happy about. Very good. And these three are the other bits I melted down. Did 3 lots. And I started out with, first lot started out as 16.4 grams of small stuff, and now it's 16.1. Excellent, very little loss. Next one, that one started out at 32.2 grams. Starting off with 32.2 grams, so just over an ounce. And hopefully we should end up with just a nice full ounce nugget at the end of this. And now it's 31.49. This one here started out being on 32 grams of small stuff, and now we have 31.45. Very good. Yeah, comes up very nice. Alright, look at that. Beautiful stuff. So that lot there ends up worth over $6,000. I kept all my bigger pieces intact, as they're often considered worth more as the original natural nuggets, rather than just for their gold content. So there you go, that's it for this trip. I'll catch you next time.